Hello, I'm Dr. Kristin Reikert. I'm the co-director of the Johns Hopkins Adherence Research Center. I'm here to give you my top 10 tips for managing CF treatments. Tip number 1 is to remember that everyone struggles with getting their therapies done every day. You are perfectly normal. Even people who look like they have it completely together have days, weeks, months, years where they've had challenges. This is not an excuse to give up and not do your treatments. This is more a way to not get bogged down in the guilt and the emotion when you have a bad day or a bad week. Tip number 2 is to get organized. Everyone's busy, everyone has a lot to do, and we want you to be busy and having fun, but we still want you to get your treatments done. So having a plan is really important. So plan out your week in advance. Think about what days are going to be tough to get treatments in, and think if you can come up with an alternative plan. If the day is really just that crazy, make sure that you get your treatments around that on other times done so that you don't have to worry about missing one. Another thought is to talk with your care team about if there's a way to make your treatments any simpler. There are devices that might deliver your medications quicker, or you can do your treatments at different times. If you're not a morning person, you shouldn't have most of your therapies in the morning. You should perhaps maybe do those later in the day. But talk with your care team to see what's best for you. Another option is to multitask. So pair doing your treatments with other things, hopefully things that you like. So watching TV, being on social media, writing emails, chatting with friends, whatever's going to help pass the time and make you feel more efficient. Tip 3 is to make it a habit. That means do it the same way, same time, same place, every time. That way you can go on autopilot and not have to think about it. Store your devices and your medications in the same place. Do it at the same time, same location. Another way to help with forgetting is to set reminders. You can put reminders in on your device. There are apps you can download to help, or you can ask family and friends to remind you to do your treatments. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Tip number 4 is to figure out your motivation for doing treatments. What is your why? What's your motivation for doing your treatments every day? Think about your personal goals and values and how doing treatments will help you achieve them. If your goals are short-term to just get to a party next week and not have a cough or be sick, then that's a perfectly good, wonderful goal to help get you through this week. If your goals are longer-term, going to college, raising a family, then those are great goals too, to think about how doing treatments can help you achieve those goals. The other important thing is to think about a catchphrase or a mantra that you can just say to yourself when you don't have the motivation to get up and get going and start your treatments. Tip number 5 is change affects abilities to get treatments done. The change can be good, graduating high school, getting married. They can be bad, life is stressful and things are really tough, or they can even be neutral, just routines have changed because the school year has started. All these things can affect the habits that you've already established. So when you know that change is coming, it's important to think about what your habits are and how they might be affected and make readjustments. Tip number 6 is to talk with your care team if you feel your therapies aren't working for you. Many people don't feel that they have any difference in symptoms whether they do or don't take their treatments. And then there's lack of motivation to want to continue on, because really what's the point if it's not benefiting? However, your care team may be able to show you ways that longer term, over time, you are benefiting from your treatments. Alternatively, you could do your own experiment and track your symptoms on days you do and don't take your therapies. When people do this, they often find that on days they don't take their treatments, they have less energy, they're coughing more, or they're more congested. And then this helps give motivation to keep doing their therapies. Tip number 7 is to be part of the decision-making about your health and your treatments. It's really important to make sure that you understand what's happening to your health and why you need to do treatments, but also to give your opinion about whether a new therapy or treatment is going to fit in with your lifestyle. Being part of that conversation can really help motivate you to want to go home and start doing those therapies. Tip number 8 is to ask for help and accept help. The CF regimen is really, really hard, and doing it all on your own can often be too much. There are different types of social support that people can give to you. One type is tangible support, which is actually helping you. That can be setting up your treatments, cleaning them up, making sure you have your medications. But there's also emotional support, which may be even more important. And it can be as simple as having someone sit with you while you do your therapies so you don't feel alone or that you're missing out on anything. It can also be having someone to talk to when you're feeling overwhelmed and out of control, or just really angry that CF is in your life. Tip number 9 is don't ignore your mental health. Feeling depressed, anxious, hopeless, or just overwhelmed and stressed out can really take its toll. And one thing it takes its toll on is being able to get treatments done. So it's very important to talk with your care team or someone else you trust about ways to get help to deal with those issues. Tip number 10 is to praise and reward yourself for doing your therapies. Don't focus on the mistakes, the imperfections, or the missed doses. Everyone is going to miss treatments, but we tend to focus on the missings and not the fact that we can actually get them done. The CF regimen is really tough, and even doing half of it can take a lot of time in your day. Acknowledge when you do well and when you've overcome a challenge. If you didn't want to wake up in the morning and do your therapies, but you did anyway, you should acknowledge that. So those are my top 10 tips for how to get your treatments done every day. I recognize that getting treatments done is a lot harder than boiling it down to 10 tips, but this might be a start to get you going. The important thing is to talk to your care team at your visits about the struggles that you're having so that they can work with you to overcome them.